In part 1 of the series, we looked at the dragon of Revelation 12 and 13 and identified him as Satan. In part 2, we looked at the beast that comes up out of the sea with the 7 heads. And in part 3, we discovered that this beast is also the same beast that comes up out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 17. And we identified him as being Apollyon, the king of the bottomless pit. And we see that from Revelation 9, when the bottomless pit is opened under the blowing of the 5th trumpet, that locust creatures come out of the bottomless pit to hurt men for 5 months. And that Revelation 9:11 says that they have a king. These locust creatures have a king over them, who is, in Hebrew, his name is Abaddon, but in Greek, his name is Apollyon. And Apollyon is released from the bottomless pit at the blowing of the 5th trumpet. And this is the beast that comes up out of the sea, the beast that comes up out of the bottomless pit that we see in the book of Revelation. But we have a question, because typically and traditionally, the beast has been identified as being a human being, the one who will be the man of lawlessness or the Antichrist. But from my perspective, this beast is not a human being. This beast comes up out of the bottomless pit, and that's very clear and plain from Scripture. And that this beast is a spiritual principality that rules in the earth from the spiritual realm, and that the Antichrist will be empowered by this particular spiritual entity, Apollyon, in the last days. So the question then is who is the Antichrist? Or how do we see this Antichrist, this man of lawlessness? Where does he fit into the picture? Can we see him in the Scriptures? Well, yes, we can. It's a very important aspect of all of the stuff that we're talking about here today. But what I'm going to tell you might surprise you. What I'm going to share with you is not something that's typically taught, but I think that once you see the verses that I'm going to show you today, it is very clear and very obvious that the false prophet that shows up in Revelation 13:11 as the beast that comes up out of the land, that false prophet is actually the Antichrist. Hey everybody, John Wiertzema here with Knowing the Times and Knowing Scripture. I hope you're not too disturbed at what I just said, that the Antichrist is actually the false prophet. I'm going to show you in some verses here, and you can decide for yourself, if there's any validity to it. I think that it's obvious. It's so obvious that it's hard to deny this fact. So we're just going to look at a few scriptures here and see what the Bible has to say about this. Revelation 13:11 is the introduction to this beast that comes up out of the earth. Okay, in this chapter, he is not called the false prophet. That name is given later on. And we're going to look, the first time that name is given is Revelation 16, verse 13. And it says, I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast. Now that's the first beast, the one that came up out of the sea, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So we have this, whatever you want to call it, unholy trinity or whatever, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Okay, we have no mention of the name Antichrist in the book of Revelation. But we see the activity of the Antichrist in other books, that Paul wrote. But here it's the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. That was the first mention of the name false prophet. Then in Revelation 19, and this is the assembly of all the nations of the world at the battle of Armageddon, and it says, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth. Okay, the beast being, Apollyon, the spirit that comes up out of the bottomless pit and empowers the Antichrist, But notice that it's the beast and the kings of the earth, because the Antichrist is one of the kings. Remember, it says that the 10 kings give their power and authority to the beast. Okay, so you got the 10 kings, and you got the Antichrist, and you've got the beast. Okay, they're all assembled, ready for the battle of Armageddon, and it says that he saw them and their armies assembled to make war against him who sat on the horse. Of course, this is Jesus, and against Jesus' army. And it says, and the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet. So this is the second mention of the name false prophet in the book of Revelation. And it specifically says the false prophet who performed the signs in his presence, in the presence of the beast, by which he deceived, the false prophet deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire, which burns with brimstone. Okay, then we go to Revelation 20, and we see at the end of the millennial reign of Christ, when Satan is released, at the end of that 1,000 years is released, and he goes to deceive the nations of the world again. And it says, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are also. Okay, so the beast and the false prophet were thrown, or will be thrown, into the lake of fire at the end of the 7 years, at the conclusion of the battle of Armageddon. But over here in Revelation 13, we don't really have the mention of the name false prophet. He's just depicted as, I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he, the false prophet, or this beast, okay, he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence. Okay, so this second beast couldn't do any of these miracles, signs, and wonders unless he was in the presence of the first beast, and that's that spiritual force that's behind the activities of these, lying signs and wonders. And it says, and he, this second beast out of the earth, makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. Okay, so this right here is the telltale that the false prophet is this beast out of the earth, because in Revelation 19, remember, it says that the false prophet who performed the signs in his presence. Okay, that's what we read over about in Revelation 13 about the beast out of the earth, that he's able to do signs in the presence of the first beast. So here the false prophet is given the name the false prophet who performed signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast. Okay, so when we see this, and he makes those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed, he performs great signs. Okay, this beast out of the earth, who is identified later on in Revelation 19 as the false prophet, he performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given him to perform in the presence of the beast. And he's the one who tells those who dwell on the earth to make an image of the beast. And it was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast would even speak. And he causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, and the free, and men and the slaves, to be given a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And he provides that no one will be able to buy or sell. Okay, so it is very, very clear that the identity of this beast out of the earth in Revelation 13 is the false prophet. Okay, there's no doubt about it, and nobody really argues that. By the way, it's kind of just one of those things that everybody understands to be, this is the way it is. But what I want to show you today is that this beast is not only is he the false prophet, but he's also the one who we call the Antichrist. And traditionally, I know I was taught this for years and years and years, that there are two individuals, the Antichrist and the false prophet, and they're this evil duo, this evil team of human beings. That the Antichrist is the main bad guy, and that the false prophet is his sidekick, who is more of the religious leader who gets people to worship the beast. That you have this dynamic duo of sorts. This is what is traditionally taught, and that is I'm telling you through these scriptures that is really not what the Bible represents as being accurate and true. We know that this beast out of the earth is the false prophet, but look what it says about what he does. It says that he performs great signs, right? Great signs and miracles. It says that he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which was given him to perform. And it was given him to give breath to the image of the beast. And he's the one who causes all to get the mark of the beast. And he's the one that says nobody will be able to buy or sell except the person who has the mark. But there's two indications here. Number one, he performs the signs and miracles in the presence of the first beast. That's number one. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth. Let's look at a verse in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It says here in verse 3, it says, speaking of the Antichrist, it says, the man of lawlessness is revealed. That we know is the Antichrist. So it says, let no one in any way deceive you, for the day of the Lord and our gathering together unto him, which is speaking about the rapture of the church, will not come unless the rebellion, the insurrection, the apostasy come first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed. The man of lawlessness, Paul talks about as being the son of destruction. And in the last video, I talked about this word destruction here in the third verse in the Greek. The son of destruction is actually the huios tes apalias, or the son of Apollias or Apollyon. It seems like that's what's being referred to or inferred here. That not that he's the actual son, but the one who Apollyon works through. That is who the man of lawlessness, the human being who we know as the Antichrist, that's who he is. He's the one who Apollyon works through. And it says the man of lawlessness will be revealed. And then down here it says about him, then that lawless one, talking about the same guy, will be revealed, the one whose coming is in accordance with the activity of Satan, with all power and signs and false wonders, and with all deception. So this man of lawlessness, who everybody identifies as being the Antichrist, okay, the one that we see in the book of Revelation, who's doing these great signs and wonders, and has the one doing the great deception, is the false prophet. Okay, this is a light bulb might be going off when you see this. Maybe you never saw this before, but the false prophet is the one who performs great signs, and he's the one who deceives those that dwell on the earth. So just the setup here of what it appears, at least to me, that the scriptures are saying is that the beast that comes up out of the sea, or the beast that comes up out of the bottomless pit, they're one and the same. That beast is the spiritual entity who Satan gives his power, his throne, and great authority to, that kingdom of the Antichrist, the spiritual ruling force behind the scenes in the spirit realm, that will empower the false prophet. Remember, it says that the beast out of the earth can't perform miracles unless he's in the presence of the first beast, the beast that comes up out of the bottomless pit. And so there seems to be a loss of, where's the Antichrist then? So here's where it comes back to typically the way that this is taught is that the first beast out of the bottomless pit or out of the sea is the Antichrist, and he's a human. But I think I've shared enough scripture verses and enough evidence to show that this beast is not a human being, but that he is the Apollyon himself, who rules behind the scenes in the spirit realm, and that he gives his power to a human being who is the Antichrist. And the only other person that we see on the scene is this false prophet. So the false prophet and the beast will be thrown into the lake of fire at the end of this battle of Armageddon. And the false prophet is the Antichrist.